Welcome to the Broadbrook Rotary Club Service Above Self, a television show intended to talk about the good work being done in the name of community service. My name is Ann Osborne, and I'm proud to be able to bring you some great folks from the town of Enfield today to discuss teenage dating violence. The Network Against Domestic Abuse is located in Enfield, Connecticut, and has been in business for 25 years as one of Connecticut's 18 domestic violence agencies. They're beginning to crack down and bring education to the community about teenage dating violence. With me from the agency are Rachel Walsh, the network's court advocate for Rockville Court, and Annalisa Deal, who is the network's youth advocate. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What exactly is teenage dating violence?
Well, before talking about teenage dating violence, we just wanted to say that although the dating violence can happen to anybody, it can be a woman or a man that's the victim, and it can be same sex or opposite sex or any different backgrounds. Since it's most common in statistics that the woman's the victim and the man's the abuser, we're just going to use that terminology today with the he and she. But basically, dating violence is any time that one partner tries to get power and control over the other partner, and they might use the different forms like physical, sexual, emotional, or verbal abuse to get that across. And this can be shown in many different ways. We have a lot of different warning signs that we'll talk about later, of the different types, from texting all the time to controlling what you eat, who you talk to, who you hang out with, the actual physical hitting and punching and kicking, or numerous different things. But basically, it's a relationship that just doesn't really feel right, and somebody's trying to dominate the other one.
Okay. I know in the research we had talked to a high school student who was a junior in high school, and she had some really good questions that I think, because we're hoping to have a teenage audience to listen to this show, let's answer some of her questions. One of them being, how often does this happen?
It happens more often than people think. Most teenagers, however, don't believe that teenage dating violence does occur. But there are statistics out there that do prove otherwise. 1 in 5 high school girls are physically or sexually hurt by the dating partner. 1 in 3 teens experience some kind of abuse, either physical, emotional, or verbal in their relationships. Many teens think that abuse in relationships are normal. Cell phone calls and text in excess of 10, 20 to 30 times an hour. Dating violence can happen to anyone, regardless of their sexual orientation. 25% of dating partners are isolated from their family and friends by their violent partner, and more than half of the victims say they have compromised their own beliefs to please a partner.
Wow. What are some of the long-term effects?
Well, some of the long-term effects are different, can maybe different with different individuals, since everybody reacts differently and handles things differently. One of the biggest ones is the isolation from friends and family, because some of those relationships may be hard for the person to gain back, and they might feel like they don't have anybody. They could also have long-term problems trusting people. There could be depression or low self-esteem, since in a lot of times the abuser will make their victim feel like it's their fault and they don't deserve any better. So they might suffer from that long-term self-esteem, which could lead to other problems like cutting or self-harm behaviors, and it could also change the person's type of sexual behavior. They may be having more unprotected sex, more promiscuous sex, or trying to avoid it altogether, depending on how they handle it. And it can also increase the use of drugs and alcohol.
All right, as a young person that may be watching or knows someone, how do I respond to a friend who I believe is in an abusive situation? What do I do for them?
The best thing you can do is believe them. It's going to be very hard for them to come to you and talk about it to begin with, so they're not going to need you to be condescending or say it's not happening to you, it's all in your head. Just believe them, check in on them. Don't distance yourself because you think that something might be going on. It just gives you more reason to check in more often and make sure you're not being isolated from her. Just no matter what you do, just believe them and let them do the talking. Don't try and force everything out of them in a day. They're going to talk to you if and when they're ready. So just believe them and be there for them whenever they're ready to talk about it.
If I see, and I know we're going to talk about some signs in a little bit, but if I see that I'm in a situation and it's getting worse and worse, what do I do?
One of the best things to do is to talk to somebody you trust, because it can help you to hear someone else's opinion and have more support on your side. So whether that person be your parent, an aunt or uncle, a best friend, a coach, a teacher, a mentor, just somebody that you can trust and know will help you to find the right help and get you through the situation.
Well, how do I know when the right time to approach, a parent or an aunt or something, or a friend's parent about what's going on?
There really is no right time. It's the time when you really feel like you have to talk to somebody. Don't put it off, because then you may lose the courage to do it and it'll get put on the back burner. Just do it whenever you feel right. I mean, there's no set time, set place, set way to do it. You just got to come out, and it's going to be the hardest part for you or a friend. So just do it whenever you feel that you have to, and people will be there for you to help you through it.
You had mentioned earlier texting 20, 10, 20, 30 times. How do I make myself safer through the different aspects of social networking, like texting or Facebook harassment, that kind of thing?
Well, there's various privacy settings on like Facebook and MySpace and things like that you could look into and educate yourself on to try and find ways to make that safer. It's good in general not to post up too much private information, because that could just run into a lot of different problems. So a lot of times these days people have a tendency to post like anything that comes to mind up there. Yeah. But learning which things you really want people to know and which things you don't, because although you might just be posting it for your friend, really anyone can see it. So just being conscious of what you are posting on there. And then there's a lot of blocking features for phones and Facebook. So if the harassment got really bad, knowing that you could block their number or block them from contacting you.
Okay, and how about texting? Because that's kind of hard to block. Texting?
Well, some phone companies will let you just block the number completely, which includes text messaging. Or if you're getting messages, you could get help from a trusted adult or from the police by showing them the type of messages you're getting, and hopefully they
I would imagine not responding at all would be
responding
a good thing. And what resources are available to me? I don't know. If I really have some general questions, if I have some, if I'm in a critical situation and I don't want to talk to anybody that I know, is there some place that I can call that can help, that I can get some help from?
Yeah, there are numbers that are available to you. Infoline is one, which is also 211. You call that, and there's a variety of resources on there that will point you in the direction that you need to go. There's also a statewide domestic violence hotline number, and that number is 888-774-2900. And there's also a number for Warm Call, which is not necessarily for a crisis situation, but if you're just looking for somebody to talk to and you need to talk to somebody, you can use this number, and that's 866-927-6225.
Great. It sounds like the 211 would be a good thing to remember for just at the last minute. We had mentioned warning signs and red flags earlier. Could you give me some examples of what to look for?
Yep. One of them would be extreme jealousy, and ideally in a trusting relationship where you feel secure with the person, you wouldn't have jealousy because you'd know that you could have faith in what they're doing. But the extreme jealousy to the point of not letting you go out with somebody from the opposite sex, even though they're just friends, or being like really picky about certain things and just getting mad at you for things you do, and just being really jealous can be a warning sign.
Another one can be controlling behavior. I mean, the list that we're going to give you can all be potential warning signs that a friend or a sister or whatever may be in an abusive relationship, but just because they exhibit some of these warning signs, don't automatically assume they are in an abusive relationship. But another warning sign, like I said, is controlling behavior, where he wants to control every aspect of who you're going out with, when you're going out, when you're allowed to go out, what kind of clothes you can wear to school, who you should walk around with, in the hallway at school, just anything like that. Just very, very, very controlling of pretty much every aspect of your life.
Okay.
Excessive alcohol or drug use could be a problem, a potential sign for the abuser, since it could be one of the things they use to blame their abuse on, saying that it was from the drinking or the alcohol. But also in the person being abused, it could be a warning sign if they normally didn't drink that much or do any drugs before, and now all of a sudden they're involved with a lot of that.
Okay.
Explosive anger, just anger that's really out of character from what he's normally exhibiting. I mean, everybody gets mad, but there comes to a point when, I mean, the anger, you can just tell
They
is
cross
not.
the line.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
you
yeah.
cross the line and it's not normal, and you should not have to put up with it, because if he's getting angry like that, you know, it could get scary really, really fast.
Okay, all right. Is there, if you're out dating and he's very forceful with you, that's another definite sign of some kind of abuse, wouldn't?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are in an argument, you know, everybody's going to get into an argument. I'm not saying that every relationship is picture perfect, but if you're in an argument and he's all of a sudden grabbing your arm or pulling your hair or whatever the case may be, I mean, even if he hits you, he lays a hand on you, yeah, it might be a red flag to open up your eyes and kind of take a step back and look what's going on.
Anything else?
There's also isolating you from the friends and family, and this could be really direct as him just saying that he doesn't want you to hang out with certain friends and doesn't want you to be around certain people. It could be manipulative, trying to tell you that you shouldn't trust certain people and trying to point out things that would make you want to stay away from them. Anything to get it so that he's the only person you have, because that way you're not getting support from outside people, you're not getting the outside people who'll be like, I don't think this really looks right, maybe you should consider this to be a problem. So having you isolated will make you 100% under power and control.
Okay, all right.
Another thing can be he's blaming other people for his feelings and the way he's acting towards you. For example, like things aren't going well at home, or he's having trouble in school, or he didn't make a sports team that he wanted to, and so he's angry and he's taking his feelings out on you, but really you're not the root of the problem. He's got other issues, but he's just blaming them on everybody else, and he's not looking at himself for what's really going on.
There could be cruelty to animal and children in his past. This could be anything from shooting squirrels with BB guns to kicking dogs when he's angry, or just showing a force or violence that would be inappropriate for those two things.
How about verbal, physical, emotional abuse? Does it happen right away? Is it something that takes time? How is that? Because I know that would be a major flag. You know, he's nice to you one day and then, you know, lashing out the next. How?
I mean, more times than not, it's probably going to start off slow. You're going to be in a relationship, and I mean, if you're a teenager in high school and it's your first real relationship, you know, you're going to think that
We've all been
he's, you know, he's the best thing since sliced white bread, you know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
so, but if 2 months down the road, he's starting to belittle you or demean you, or, I mean, even escalating quickly to physical violence at any point in time, yeah, major red flag. And it might not start off right away. It might not start off within the first 3 months. It could be 6 months. It could be a year down the road if you're still together. But yeah, if anything like that starts to happen, you really need to take a step back and realize that that is a major red flag.
Okay.
A lot
And emotional is as bad as
absolutely.
physical. And
Yeah, a lot of women will say actually that they would prefer that he hit them because the bruises go away, but the emotional stuff will stay with
Wow.
you forever.
yeah.
And a lot of it can be a grooming process too, which is why some of it starts off slow. Like he might just throw in little things about how you're like ugly or fat or something sometimes. And the first couple of times you might just forget about it and be like, it's no big deal. But then after a while, slowly it like starts in your head that maybe you are that way, and you start just feeding into that before even realizing that it's verbal abuse sometimes, because it's just such a normal part of how your relationship functions.
Do you think that if you find yourself in an abusive situation, do you think he's abused others before you?
It's always
Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
He could have been in other relationships that have ended, and he just says that they didn't get along or they weren't meant for each other, but in reality, there were things that he doesn't want to mention to you because, you know, you might be the next person, so you should be weary to a point.
Okay. And anything else on the red flag list?
Well, there could be like an overreaction to normal stresses in life that could sometimes be a warning sign going along with that explosive anger and aggression. Like maybe if he got a D on his test, the normal person would be like, oh, like that really sucks, and probably feel a little down about it for a while. But if he comes home and starts screaming at you and yelling at you because he got a D on a test, that's not really right. Or a lot of times you see that as an example in movies when the guy comes home and dinner's not on the table and he starts yelling and screaming. Like that's not really fair just for not having dinner right there that second.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an overreaction to a normal little routine occurrence.
Okay. Well, we've got a lot of good facts, a lot of good information. Rachel, would you like to say the numbers again? Just so that I know they're going to be on the screen, but maybe if we reiterate them again.
Yeah, there's the statewide domestic violence hotline number, which is 888-774-2900. There's the info line, which is 211, which, like I said, will lead you to, it's a variety of resources. It will get you where you need to go. And then there's Warm Call, which is just if you need somebody to talk to and you don't want it to be somebody you know right away, you can talk to them. And that's 866-927-6225.
Now, from what I understand, the Warm Call is only available from like 6 at night till 10 at night, 7 days a week. But 211 is 24/7,
Yes,
right?
211 will get you
anywhere, anytime. Okay, great. Any final words on teenage dating violence that you'd like to add that we didn't cover as a warning to our audience or advice to our audience before we close up?
I think one thing is sometimes it's hard in telling with like warning signs and things like that what's really dangerous and what's not, but I guess the basic thing we can leave you with is that if it doesn't feel right, that it's probably not.
That's
so
great
if you're
advice.
Uncomfortable
Great
and not
advice.
happy or feeling like it's healthy, getting help or just talking to someone about it to see what they feel.
And if we have hopefully hit some parents that have seen these signs in your children, you know, be aware, talk to your children. And I'd like to thank you so much for both of you taking time out to come out and talk. And again, this is Anna Osborne for Service Above Self with the Broadbrook Rotary Club. And we thank you, and we'd like you to go out and find a worthy cause and lend a helping hand. Thank you.
Could you dedicate yourself to a worthy cause? Could you go the distance to keep a child healthy? Could you travel to the other side of the world to help eliminate polio? Could you? A Rotary member could. We're dedicated to connecting children with vaccinations and ending polio worldwide. All it takes is one person to make a difference, like me, like you. Could you help change the world? Will you? Rotary. Humanity in motion.
Making the world a better place is an intricate puzzle. And piece by piece, the women and men of Rotary have worked hard to fight hunger, promote literacy, and move the world toward peace. But there is still much to be done, still some missing pieces. And one of those missing pieces is you. Learn how you can help Rotary put together a better world at Rotary.org. Rotary, Humanity in Motion.